Welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
Today we're talking about Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 18, Episode number 5. And we start out at the Balboa Club with Heather and Terry. And they're talking about the paparazzi thing. And Terry says he likes when paparazzi takes his pictures. Heather's like, I know. He says, if Katie has a number, maybe you can get it for me so I can call them so they can take my picture.
I think he just proved even more right in that statement that they did call the paparazzi that day. And quite honestly, I know that he had a stroke, so I'm not trying to be rude in any way, but he does not look good. He has to stop with the plastic surgery on his face.
Well, he was talking about some kind of cardiac medicine.
Maybe that's why he looks puffy.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah, he said who got there first? Gina. When Gina got there, he said, she asked how he was doing, and he said he just finished up his one cardiac medicine. So, maybe
it'll start coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel bad even saying that, but I just feel like he's going a little bit too far for it.
Yeah. I mean, I like them. He's always been the one. I've always liked them as a couple, and he's always been the one who wanted to be on camera.
Yes.
He wanted to be on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Orange. I think he wanted to be on Beverly Hills.
He probably did because he's rolling with Nassif, but.
Right. And they have their own show that they still have, right?
Yeah.
They still have that show.
Yeah, as far as I know.
So he likes the camera.
Yeah.
Then Shannon goes over to Katie's house, and I thought it was nice. Katie gives her Valentine's Day flowers because it's Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the golf outing and how they were, glad that Alexis wasn't there.
Yeah.
Then we see Emily's 15th anniversary is actually Valentine's Day, and she meets up with Tamara, and they're talking about the golf outing as well. And Jenn going to Vegas, and Emily says the sunglasses that she won are not really her style, and maybe she'll give them to Jenn. And we said last week, why don't you give them to Gina? Because Gina really wanted them.
Gina did want them. Give them to your friend.
Yeah. When she said that, I'm like, wait a second.
She said she was going to give them to Jenn because then it gave her and Tamara the opportunity to put digs out on Jenn. Like, she could really use them, because she's broke. She ain't got no money. Like, they're kind of Jennifer Aidening it.
Yeah. I'm not, honestly.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
And I expect it from Tamara, but I really like Emily. Emily's like one of my top 3 housewives. I really like her, but I don't know, girl.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like when Emily goes low like that because she doesn't need to.
No, she doesn't need to.
It's one thing when she gives her quick, snappy comebacks in the confessional. Like that I like. Yes. But to go down to Tamara's level, so she doesn't need to do that. She doesn't need to do that.
No.
Then we see Heather tells Terry that she didn't like that Gina let Katie tell all the girls about the paparazzi. And then Gina and Jenn come over to Heather's because they're doing their own Galentine's Day. And they're doing face masks. And Gina apologizes about the Katie stuff.
Their iPads kept falling down. Did you notice that?
I did notice that, yeah.
I'm like, in my head, I'm like, push it up. It's like not even on your eyes right now. Look, I need one on mine right now.
I've actually never done those iPad things. Have you ever done that?
Oh, all the time. Look I have to. I got the Vivala bags. Cousin Gina will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's hereditary in my mother's family. All the women get bags under their eyes. For some reason, this one is more pronounced, but trust me, I got one on this side too. Yes, I do like those iPads all the time.
I don't think I have bags, do I?
I don't think you need them at all, no.
Okay, thanks.
You pain in the ass. You don't need that, and you don't color your hair, and it's a bunch of bullshit.
All right, if you think I need them, let me know, because I may have overlooked that at some point.
No, you don't. And look, I did my roots 3 weeks ago, and they're coming in already.
Oh, I can't see them.
All right, I'll stop complaining.
So then Heather says, Gina, I would have thought you would have had, told them to stop talking about it. And listen, Gina did. She did tell her to stop talking about it.
Well, hopefully when Heather watches this back prior to the reunion, she'll see that not only did Heather not engage, not only did Gina not engage, but you hear a hot mic moment where she actually says to Katie, I told you not to say anything.
Right.
So that was not on camera, but a hot mic moment. So hopefully Heather will see that.
But she also says it to her on camera because then she goes over. We're going to get there. She goes over there.
Yeah,
we'll get there. She says it right to. She says it right to her face.
But I feel like it means more when it's not on camera.
Yeah,
to these women.
That's true.
Yeah.
Katie shows her text to Shannon, because now Katie and Shannon are together because, you know, she gave her the flower. She shows Shannon the text that she got from her friend who's in charge of the paparazzi. Katie thinks that Gina hung her out to dry. This is what I think is interesting. When she's talking to Shannon, I get the impression, and I think I see it in the upcoming clips, that Katie is saying that Gina told her to put this out there.
So
and that is not true.
Well, it's not true, but hear my perspective, because I was thinking about this too, because I thought the same thing. I think Gina told her, do not bring this up on camera. Do not make this part of the show. And then when she did at that night out at the dive bar, then when Katie brings the clothes over to Gina does say to her, either you tell Heather you did this or I'm going to tell her.
Right.
I think that's what Katie's talking about when she says, Gina told me to tell Heather, or Gina told me to say it, that I did it, or whatever. I think that's what she's talking. I could be wrong, but that's the conclusion I came to. That must be what she's talking about, because clearly Gina told her not to do it, not to say it.
Right.
It's clear.
If that's the case, then I stand corrected, but I don't get that impression.
I was just trying to work it out in my head, like maybe this is what she's talking about.
Because
I agree with you.
Yeah, I even think Tamara says something that we're going to see next week about it. That Tamara says that Gina told Katie to say it, which again,
is so messy.
She is so messy. She really is.
I have no use for her.
I know. Heather asked Gina when she found out about the paparazzi, and she said before Christmas. Heather said, you should have told me. Gina said, I know, I effed up. You know, I just wanted it to go away. I'm sorry. That's 100% genuine. You know,
I agree.
She did find out about it. She didn't tell Heather about it because she told Katie not to say anything. And she thought that was going to be it. But then all of a sudden, that wasn't it.
Did you see Emily on Watch What Happens Live?
Yes, I did.
So Emily basically said, I see both sides. I see Heather wanting Gina to tell her as her friend, but we're also filming a show. So Gina did allude to the fact that maybe Gina held on to that information because it would come out on the show and be part of the storyline. That's how I took that.
I don't think Gina rolls that way. I
don't think so either. That's why I was kind of surprised that her BFF said that.
I really don't think that that's how Gina rolls. I think that that's how Heather would roll. I think that's definitely how Tamara rolls.
Of course.
I don't think that that's who Gina is. I don't.
No, I agree.
I don't think that's who she is.
Right.
Jenn asks, where do we go from here? Heather and Gina, when they're sitting there, she's like, where do we go from here? Jenn said, I liked her. And Heather's like, well, I'm not telling you that you can't like her. Like, you need to make your own decisions, but just know that this speaks to her character, meaning Katie.
And it does.
It absolutely does.
I think she screwed up here.
Yeah, she definitely screwed up. And I was listening to Brop Bros, and I have not listened to them in a long time because I just don't really like them anymore. But I will say they were talking about OC, and they said that Katie was acting like Anne Marie from Beverly Hills. I was like, I said the same thing.
You did say the same thing.
I said it before them. So
yes, you did.
There you go, Brop Bros. Then Emily and Shane go out to dinner for their anniversary. And
I love these two.
I
just
too.
love them. Like
I
I want to go to dinner with Emily and Shane.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
It would be fun.
So much fun. And she gets another ring.
I know. That's gorgeous. Emily says
she just got a new ring a couple of years ago when they renewed their vows.
I know. Emily says to Shane that, she doesn't see him really putting in the effort about living the healthy lifestyle. And then she starts asking him some questions because she looked up like questions to ask on your 15th wedding anniversary. And she said, do I have any silly or odd quirks about me? He's like, yes, you leave your eyelashes all over the house.
Like when he said, sometimes they're on the back of your shirt.
Right.
It's like we're living amongst caterpillars.
Then he gave her that beautiful upgraded engagement ring.
I'll say it was an upgrade.
It was gorgeous. It was really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Then Emily gives him the boudoir picture. And as we found out,
she should have given him the one where she was like slapping her.
Her. Yeah, I do too. I do too.
But that one was nice.
Yeah, we find out it's still in her closet.
Yes.
So
on Watch What Happens Live, right?
Yeah. So he's going to have to go to her closet if he wants to see it.
Maybe. I mean, I guess that's not the type of thing that you can really hang in your office.
No.
And when you have little kids, like, where do you hang that? where do you hang that?
That's a good question. I don't know where you
Right?
hang
Like,
it.
unless you have like a big closet to yourself, which I would imagine he does, but.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see Shannon. Oh, wait a second. Nope. Before that, Katie and Gina meet up and they talk about Travis and what's going on with them. Katie says she felt abandoned by her at the golf event when Heather was going off on her. And she said she didn't think she supported her with Heather. But really, she didn't get involved in it at the golf event because she had already told her prior to the golf event, you need to let Heather know what's going on before anybody else does. And she didn't do it in time because Tamara did it.
Right. And I feel like Gina's being very clear that she told Katie not to bring it up.
Right. Right.
But
exactly.
then she said, like, if you don't, I'm going to tell her.
Right.
So.
And then, listen, like you said, Gina was very clear when she said, I told you not to bring it up. And then all of a sudden, Katie starts crying. And then she's like, you know, she said she feels hurt by Gina. And then Gina all of a sudden feels bad. That's why I really don't think, because Gina is very sensitive.
Yeah.
I don't think that she would, first of all, she's close with Heather. She wouldn't do that to Heather. She wouldn't do it for a storyline. It's just not in her makeup. I mean, then she winds up.
I agree.
She winds up apologizing to Katie. And we don't know enough about Katie yet to know, like, were those tears real? I don't like what I see so far.
No. And like what Emily was saying about Alexis, how she's coming in too hot. Like, let these girls get to know you. Like, you're coming in too hot with the Shannon stuff. Katie came in with this, and it's like, again, like a distraction away from her really forming friendships. Although she does seem to be doing so with Jenn, and you know, but I don't know. It's like this is like a roadblock, I feel like, for her.
I do
for
too.
her freshman season.
I do too. And then we see Shannon meets up with her dad. I love
What's
that.
What's he call
scene.
himself?
He calls himself, I wrote it down, Gene the Machine.
Yes.
Gene the Machine.
Gene
he
the
introduced
Machine.
himself to ladies in the park as Gene the Machine.
That's amazing.
And I remember when, because we haven't seen him in many seasons. I remember when he was out and flirting with all the ladies. Like that was his thing, you know?
Yep. God bless him.
She tells him about John Jansen suing her, and he's like, you got to fight this. You got to go for the jugular.
Go for the jugular.
Which I think was sound advice from her dad.
Very sound advice. Very sound advice.
Then Shannon talks about how she needs to get a car and that thing that you blow into, and that's going to be a daily reminder of her DUI. She also goes on to say that when she was with John Jansen, they were drinking all the time, and she was miserable.
Yeah.
So... You know,
she was self-medicating. It's very obvious that she was self-medicating because she was not in a happy place. And he had something to do with that. I don't personally, sometimes I feel like Shannon's not even over her divorce yet.
No, it could be.
And he didn't help the matter.
No, he certainly did not. No, he did not. Then we see Tamara go over to Alexis's house and they're talking about why Alexa wasn't invited to the golf outing. She wasn't invited because one, she's a friend of. Right. You're a friend of. You are giving Shannon a hard time, and it was Katie's event, and she wanted Shannon to feel comfortable.
Right.
It's that simple.
Was Vicky there?
No, Vicky wasn't there.
Okay, well, there you go. And listen, if Vicky were there, it would have been totally fine.
Right.
But you're not a housewife, so beat it.
And then Tamara is bad-mouthing Shannon, saying that she needs rehab. Tamara said Shannon is blaming John Jansen for her drinking. She's not really blaming him. She is saying that she was miserable, and when they were together, she was drinking. I don't know that that's her blaming him.
Right.
But, you know, she seems to think that she has her drinking under control. She went to a program. She doesn't seem drunk. She looks great. She's taking care of herself. Right. Let her live her life. Who are you to be judge and jury? Who are you to keep slandering her every single chance you get?
Right.
Every single chance you get.
And what's with the happy-go-lucky Lexi? You don't invite happy-go-lucky. And she's like pointing to herself. Like, it's just too much.
It's phony.
It's so fake and phony. It's like Tamara.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Then Tamara brings up the facelift, and Alexis says, I will bring the receipts. So then we see Gina talking to her son, telling him that he's going to be sleeping over at Travis's house tonight because Gina's throwing the dinner party at the restaurant. And she gets to the restaurant, and they have the private room. We see Vicky is going with Gina. No, Vicky is going with Shannon to the dinner party. Heather shows up and doesn't want to sit across from Katie. You know,
that was a little immature.
Well, I mean, listen. Heather likes place cards. She likes to have a proper set at table.
I know, but that was a little...
It was.
I mean, listen, Heather, you're on a show. You have to coexist with these people.
Well, she just sat in a different seat. It's not like she wanted to sit at a different table. So then Emily shows up and she shows the ladies her anniversary ring, which we all said is beautiful.
Again, though, Alexis's reaction was so over the top.
Yeah. Alexis says to Katie, "How are you?" Because she was sitting across from her. Alexis asked, what was your thought process in not inviting me to the golf outing? She doesn't need to tell you what her thought process was. Like, who are you to question her?
Yeah.
Who are you to question her?
Right. You're just a friend of, and you're Tama's friend. You're not Katie's friend.
I mean, you're supposedly Heather's friend too, right? So then Shannon orders a drink. Oh no, Vicky first. Before that, Vicky and Shannon walk in, and Tamara says, "The Wicked Witch of the West," meaning Vicky.
I'm assuming. And Alexis says, "Look who's in my world now." You're both a friend of.
Right.
And by the way, Alexis, even if you were holding an orange and Vicky wasn't, you're still in her fucking world.
Yes.
Because she started the show.
Yes.
She was 100%. There before Andy Cohen.
Yes.
So you're still in her world. You'll always be in her world.
So true. It's so true. So then Shannon orders a drink and Tamara says, "Oh yeah, an alcoholic should have a drink." Shannon says,
I can't believe she called her an alcoholic.
I know.
I can't believe she did that.
Shannon says, "Who makes you judge and jury?" Shannon says, "Every day I wake up and I think about what happened." And then Tamara says, "Is that after you have a drink?" Like, who the F does she think she is?
She's just, and thank God Emily and Gina did finally say something, but there was a pause there.
Well, Vicky said something. No, Vicky said something. Vicky said
right, Vicky. But I'm saying, out of everybody else sitting there, like, open your mouths.
Yeah.
Because this is not right. You don't call and I'm not even saying Shannon's an alcoholic, because personally, I don't think she is. I think she copes with alcohol. Well, maybe that does make sense.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think she is. I think when she's in a dark place, that's how she self-medicates, but she seems very healthy now and not reliant on it.
Right. Right. And it's her business. It's her business.
Period. It's like, her business.
Why does Tamara think she needs to jump on this soapbox like you are so holier than thou? She's
always been like that, Tamara.
Right. Right. You've had many drunken nights and made a fool of yourself.
Yep.
Okay, so you didn't drink and drive.
Right.
You've done many other.
Wasted.
Right.
You did try to get a woman to take her clothes off and go in a bathroom with your son so you could prove that she's not really in love with her dying fiance. You're a piece of shit for that. And you'll always be one for that. Yeah.
I mean, Tamara is, I don't know. Listen, I never liked her on the OC. I liked her when she was just doing the pod. I liked the podcast. I won't even listen to the podcast anymore.
I have a hard time. I listened to them recap Jersey, but quite honestly, I got tired of it because they're so afraid of Louie and Teresa. They'll never fucking say it the way it is.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with Tamara. I think Tamara needs to go. Mm-hmm. I don't think she needs to be there. I really don't. I think she's toxic. I really do.
They have to do something with these shows. They have to get rid of the Tamaras and the Teresas who just do things for the drama. Yes, we like a little drama, but not assholes. Like, they're just mean girls.
Yeah.
Mean.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo has to get rid of these people and do something else, because this isn't the way it started.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. It's absolutely not. And like you said, Emily says, "I think that she's changed." And Gina says, "It's not for you to decide whether or not Shannon is an alcoholic."
Right.
And it's true. It's not for her to decide. Like,
no.
Does she have her PhD? Is she all of a sudden a medical doctor? No.
And listen, at this point, it's because she keeps complaining about how Shannon will call her drunk crying every day. She's not doing that anymore because you're nobody's friend. You're not her friend.
Right. So then Shannon gets up and she says, "This has to stop." And Tamara says, "You've been lying. You owe John Jansen $70,000. Alexis chimes in and says, "No, $75,000. And I have the receipts." Wire transfers. It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. She says 60,000 was for a facelift and 15 was a loan. Shannon walks out of the room and then Jenn follows her after a while. Vicky is still in there defending her. But why? Now you are John Jansen's puppet?
And not only, what are the producers doing? You see Shannon struggling and you're allowing this to happen. Bravo is allowing this to happen. Like literally trying to mentally break this woman down.
I mean, I think the producers were following out, telling her to go back in. That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to help her.
Go take, no, they were probably trying to tell her to go back in to take more abuse. It's disgusting.
It is. It really is. We really
are the problem for watching this. B Lashes is right. We are the problem.
So Kelly's referring to, we have a post up on TikTok about Jen Aiden and how when she was asked about, what she's going to do if she, no longer has the housewives, she goes on talking about, her fabulous life and her house and her Ferraris and her 18 bathrooms and all that.
Yeah.
And B Lashes commented on our video and she shared it and she said, she was just being honest. This is who she is. She's not a nice person. Like her or
not, that's who she is.
Right. She's not a nice person. And, we as viewers are part of the problem because we're letting her profit off of this, which is what, we keep saying. Like, if we stop watching, then they'll stop having a platform.
Yeah. I mean, again, though, I like to watch the fun stuff. I like to watch Emily and Shane out to dinner and their banter back and forth. I think they're so funny. Even Heather and Terry on camera are very good together. And I'm not a huge Heather fan, but I like the scenes with her and Terry. When they go do their girls' trips, like that's the stuff you want to see. It's the It's the Tamras. Like it's too low. It's going too low. And I don't want to stop watching because a lot of it I like. And we do this and we have fun doing this, but for crying out loud, like it's just mean. Some of it's just so mean. Like, if somebody were treating my daughter like this, I would lose my ever loving mind.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just like you said, it's mean girl behavior.
Yeah.
It's toxic and it's uncalled for. I like to see the family scenes. I like to see the fun interactions. I like to see them laugh and have a good time and, do different activities. I don't need to see someone taking down another person.
No.
I don't need to see that. I don't. No. I don't want to see that. I don't.
And I didn't think Tamara had a good season last season. I was hoping they weren't going to bring her back. And now they bring her back and she's even worse this season.
I do think it's interesting, though, that when Shannon was in the hallway and she's talking to Jenn, she does say, you have no idea the stories that I could release about him. But she won't, because in the confessional, the producers are like, well, what are they? She's like, I'm not going to get sued again. I'm not going to open my mouth.
Because that's why Jim Bellino sued her and Tamara.
Right.
That's exactly why. So honestly, maybe that's what Alexis is trying to do. She's trying to bait her to get her to say something about John Jansen so he can sue her the way Jim Bellino sued her.
Well, she's the one who probably got him to sue her for the money.
Right. But it was probably, bigger, whatever Jim Bellino was going after was more than the $75,000 John Jansen's going for. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know Alexis is looking very good, though.
No. Then Tamara goes up to Vicky and says, it wasn't because of you I backed out of Tres Amigas. Vicky says she needs a friend and I'm not leaving her. Heather says to Alexis, maybe you need to take it down and get to know her. And it's true. It's true. Everything Vicky said and everything Heather said is true. Like Tamara needs to take it down. Alexis needs to take it down. You don't need to attack her.
No.
She doesn't need to have it come from both sides.
No.
And I really think she's handling herself like a class act.
Absolutely. I mean, Emily said it on Watch What Happens Live last night. Like, Alexis looks awful and Shannon looks great.
Right, right.
And I would imagine by her saying that, it means that that's how the rest of the season's going to play out.
I think it might. Because then Alexis says, I want to get to know her. Emily says, you can't bring receipts and then say you want to get to know her.
Right.
Which is true.
Thank God Emily was the voice of reason here.
Right.
Thank God.
And then Vicky says, this is toxic and you can't treat women this way. I know you all believe in Jesus Christ and you need to be kind. And I agree.
Heather is Jewish, though, isn't she?
She may be, but I don't know about the Jesus Christ part, but you need to be kind.
We all have faith.
Okay, right.
But the funniest
you believe
part
in
was,
something.
Yes, as long as you believe in something. Yeah, we all need to believe in a higher power because otherwise there's not much accountability. Just my personal opinion. Just my personal opinion. Anyway, the funniest thing ever was when Emily said, please roll the film of Vicky being terrible.
Yep.
And they do. However, if
that was in the confessional. That was in the confessional. And that's what I like that she does. That stuff she does, I think is great.
But you'll notice from all of those flashbacks, she's not yelling at another woman.
No.
She's not tearing anybody else down. No. She's yelling that they sent a family van for a lot of people.
Right.
She's yelling at the producers at the reunion because they told her to get off the set when she thought she deserved to be there. And I think that there was this like one other scene. She's not yelling at her castmates. Oh, well, the one scene she was yelling at her castmates, but she wasn't tearing them down, calling them names like alcoholic. She wasn't doing that. It's very different.
100%. It's very different. It's very different. Because then Tamara's yelling back, she needs to be in rehab. She's an alcoholic. It's like, enough.
I mean, quite honestly, that's slander. Shannon could sue Tamara. It's on national television. It's on film. She probably could sue her. The same way Jim Bellino sued them. Tamara needs to keep her mouth shut. She's so stupid.
She really is.
God, I mean, more and more like Teresa as the days go on.
Last season, she was going after Jenn. Now she's going after Shannon. Now she's best buds with Alexis. And as we see at the end, she's going to be going after Jenn again.
Yep. No, Vicky was right. And actually, I think Vicky was on Teresa's podcast when she said it, that Tamara's only storyline is going after a castmate. And she's right.
I don't like it.
Me neither.
I don't like it.
If you don't have anything going on in your life to share, then get off the show. Because this is tired. You're tired.
Or just be fun. Interact with the other women and be fun. You don't have, listen, maybe you don't have anything going on. Okay. Just be there and be fun and participate. Support the other women. Build them up.
Right. And as much as I think that Fancy Pants can be showy with her real estate, at least she has that to talk about. And she has solid scenes with her husband and her kids when they're around. By the way, did you see Nick DeBro on $1 Million Listing?
I did.
That was nice. That was nice. I'm glad to see he's, getting into that role. But Heather's a good housewife. Heather, like her or not, she's a good housewife and she does bring something to the table and she is fun and she is positive with the other women. And this thing with her and Gina now, it's just the way she feels. It's not her trying to start a fake storyline. She's just telling her friend, like, I have a problem with this, Wait until she finds out that Shannon sat at Katie's house and read the text message. That's probably not going to go over very well.
Well, I mean, that's not really Shannon's fault.
No, it's not. But she sat there and entertained it. And I think that that's why she was annoyed at Gina, because she sat there and entertained it. But listen, you're on a show and everybody's going to sit and entertain whatever's going on.
Right, right.
But yeah, Tamara's tired.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Then we go to Watch What Happens Live and Emily's on with Colleen Hoover.
Okay, let me tell you something, because you know how I am. I'm all set to watch this movie and read this book. It ends with us. As a matter of fact, I am on the waiting list to get the book from Ocean County Library, because I have so many. I won't buy books anymore. I have so many books. It's ridiculous. Like, I really need to have a garage sale just for books. So I'm on the waiting list, but I do want to read it because now there's a movie and I love whatever.
Colleen Hoover?
No, the actress that's in there, Blake Lively. But when she gave her unpopular opinion and said, I actually really like Louis.
I know.
I'm like, well, I'm not reading your book now. You fucking whack job for saying that. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, are you kidding me? So I'm not reading the book or seeing the movie because you know how I am.
You are that way. Yeah, you are. I know.
It's not happening. If Ocean County Library calls me and says my book's ready, I'm going to say thank you anyway. Give it to the next person.
Because Colleen Hoover likes Louis.
Yep. That was I'm like, I thought this woman was intelligent. Like, She's friends with Emily. Like, threw me for a loop.
Okay.
So go on. Sorry.
That's okay.
You were saying about Watch What Happens Live.
Yes. So the bartender was also in the movie. He was Brendan Skellner. I've never heard Brandon Skellner. I've never heard of him.
Was he the main was he the male?
No,
lead?
He wasn't. I don't think
Okay.
so. No,
Okay.
I don't think he was. And let's see. Do you agree? There were some questions. Do you agree with Heather that Gina's at fault? And this was to Emily. Emily says, you do what you have to do when filming. And the next question was, what about Tamara's tough love with Shannon? Emily thinks she needs to show more empathy. 100% agree.
100%.
Do you agree that Vicky is enabling Shannon? She said maybe. I don't think she is. I think she's being a friend. I think
that Vicky is a very empathetic person and a very motherly person, and just wants to take care of people when they're in need. She's a good friend to Shannon anyway, but she's going to really put herself out there for Shannon now when Shannon needs her the most, because that's what a good friend does.
Right. Exactly.
And we don't know what Vicky's saying to her. Like, we don't know if Vicky's saying to her, like, well, I mean, she did say you could have a drink, you're not driving, but she can have a drink if she's not driving.
Right. And then she's asked, they ask Emily, what about the lawsuit? She says she thinks the timing is suspicious. And I 100% agree.
Absolutely.
I think it has to do with Alexis. I don't think we already said we don't think it has anything to do about the money, because she offered to pay him. Even though her father said, don't. She offered to pay him.
I'm glad she did, though, because now we know that he said no. So now we know why he's really doing this.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It is terrible. It really is terrible. And I honestly think that I hope Shannon has a good attorney, because the fact that she offered to pay him and he said no, I think that attorney should use that and bring that to court to have it thrown out.
Absolutely.
As a frivolous lawsuit.
Yep. Frivolous claim.
Yeah. Because if you're suing for money and she's offering to give you the money so that she doesn't have to pay all these legal fees and be dragged through the court, and you're saying no, well,
there's no emotional damage. There's no punitive damage. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't give it. You had it, you gave it. She offered to pay you back. You said no. No damages.
That's what I would say, right?
Absolutely.
So I really hope, and Shannon's not dumb. I mean, I hope she has a good attorney, and I hope he's, going into court with this and trying to get it thrown out.
Let's hope it's not Jim Leonard.
Oh, gosh. I'm sure. I shouldn't say that. It could possibly be Jim Leonard. Who knows?
No, those girls are too smart. Those girls are too smart.
Okay, so that's pretty much all I have.
So let's talk about some things we saw. Louis making the comment about the Giudice girls wearing thongs and short skirts.
On the podcast, on Teresa's podcast.
I mean...
And going and dancing at the clubs.
It's like, he's just not going to learn. He just doesn't give an F, is basically what it is. And Bravo, this is a PSA for you. You put him back on the show. You saw what he did. He clearly threatened Marge's son last year. He clearly dug up John Fuda's baby mama and got that poor girl sent back to jail.
And she was in jail at the time.
She was in jail at the time, and then she was in a sober living house, or a halfway situation. And you're not supposed to have any contact or social media or anything like that. And they contacted her and got her sent back to jail. Then you say you hope her effing son suffers. Bravo, you put this guy back on the air.
Mm-hmm.
You are a negligent employer. And I hope every one of your employees sues you for it, at least the Jersey cast, because you're putting them in a very dangerous situation by letting this guy film. He's dangerous.
I think it's interesting. Louis did come out with his statement, right? That, he apologized and that's not really what he meant. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I today was, scrolling through some podcasts, and I was listening to, and I haven't listened to them, and then I deleted it after I started listening, all about the TRH, Roxanne. I know, I haven't listened in a long time. I said, let me just listen. So she was talking about that and how happy she was that Louis did that, and that was the right thing to do, and he didn't really mean it. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to her, and I'm like, how are you defending this behavior?
It's
Like,
unbelievable.
how is this behavior defend? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, he said it.
Yep.
And he meant it. And you could see that he
On
meant it.
camera.
You could see he meant it. I
Yep.
mean, he was at home. It's not like anyone was there. It wasn't like he said it under duress. It's not like he felt threatened at the time. He was at the privacy of his own home having a conversation with his wife about what her strategy was going to be.
Right.
It's
how are you going to handle Marge?
That is a psychopath.
The day Teresa could handle Marge in any capacity, sign me up for a front row to that, because Teresa can't handle shit. She could never handle Marge one-on-one. Marge would eat her up.
Yeah.
And I text you today because I'm working and I have, Housewives on in the background, and I got to stop. I got to stop because it was season 4. It was the reunion, and she goes in on Caroline. Blubber, blubber, blubber. She's fat shaming Caroline. All the way back then, she's fat shaming people. And Andy Cohen sits there and says nothing. He says nothing. Now, it's just amazing to me how he protects her, and always has, because she was the cash cow of the show. She was. There's no doubt about it.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
I don't get it. So one of my coworkers, I told you, he is a huge Teresa fan. And I saw him this week. He was away on vacation when I got back from work, and he just got back later in the week because he was down in Florida and they had all the storms, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And he told me that I was completely wrong and that he's not listening to my podcast anymore. He said, you are allowed to have another opinion besides mine. You're entitled to your opinion. I said, how? I don't understand how you can love her. I said, what about Louis? No, she's fine. I'm like, he's like, you are wrong.
Fine?
Well, I don't think he thinks he's fine, but he is just a tree hugger. I called him a tree lover. He goes, it's not a tree lover. It's a tree hugger. I said, no, a tree stump. He's like, no, love Robert.
It's a tree stump.
He said, I can't listen to you anymore. You're all wrong. You and your friend are all wrong. I said, all right, we're wrong. But tell me why. No, I'm not. He's like, no, you're wrong. I was like, all right, we're wrong. So he's punishing me and he's not going to listen. I said,
I wonder if our other friend who loves Teresa is listening.
We'll have to find out. Or maybe she's punishing us too. And then I said, wait a second. I said, did you see? I saw, because he lives right by Joe Gorga in Tom's River. He sees him all the time and he doesn't like him. I said, did you see Joe Gorga did a commercial for me? He goes, no, I saw his RHOC commercial. I said, come on, come over to my desk. Let me show you my little commercial that Joe Gorga did for me. And I showed him. He's like, where was that? And I told him. He's like, ah. And I told him who else I saw. And I said, I'm going to see the husbands too. Ah.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be so much fun.
That's
agree.
A week from tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it's at Harris?
Yes. It's going to be a fun night.
That's going to be a good night. Well, I think that's it. Was there anything else in Bravo news? Oh, did you see Erica Jane, one of her confessionals on the upcoming season? I guess the producers ask her. She gets pretty defensive when they start questioning her about, the court stuff again.
Oh,
she's like, I don't know, look it up. Yeah. So I guess that situation. Well, he's starting trial soon, isn't he?
Oh, I haven't heard anything about it, to be honest with you. I didn't know anything about it.
I saw him, a clip of him walking into the court or something. We'll have to start paying attention to that.
I saw that Garcelle was, I think, with Jeff Lewis, and she was saying how Dorit is very nasty this season because of the divorce. She's not pleasant to be around.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Garcelle is in a new movie on Lifetime, and it looks good. It's seems reminiscent of How Stella Got Her Groove Back with Angela Bassett. Which I love that movie. And this is a Lifetime movie with Garcelle, so I'm definitely watching that.
It seems like, because they were listing all the things that she's doing. It seems like Garcelle is killing it right now.
She's busy.
Yeah. She's booked and busy.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Oh, absolutely. I love Garcelle.
I do too. I'm
happy for her. This is the prime example of somebody who can join a show like this. I mean, she was already an accomplished actress and model, obviously.
Yes.
But, she stopped to raise her kids, and then whatever happened in her marriage happened, and she's, raising her kids as a divorced woman, joins this show, and I would imagine the show probably opened up some doors for her. Not that she needed it, because
No, but it doesn't hurt. It
doesn't hurt. And
Right.
she's a great housewife because she shows her dynamic with her kids. She gets involved with the storylines, but she's not messy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I like Garcelle, and I've always
Me
said
too.
that. I love the scenes with her boys. I love watching them interact.
Yes.
I like to see, unlike Cousin Gina, I like watching the kids.
I think she does to a point, Cousin Gina, but I think, like, you know, there's some kids that you just don't want to see. I'm not going to keep talking about the one I don't like because I don't want to lose any more listeners. But I think there's certain kids you don't want to see. But even to see Garcelle's dynamic with her ex-husband, like, she got past that and he did her dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that they are co-parenting so amicably is nice to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So until next time, thank you for watching and listening to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
Bye.
And by the way, if you guys could subscribe to us on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, please subscribe and like and possibly rate us some reviews. That would really help grow this for us.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.